All right, welcome back to another edition of What's Hockey. We're going to start, as we always do, around that hockey. It's playoff time, Keaton, and there was a suspension in the Colorado and Dallas Stars series. What happened there?
So it looks like Val Nichushkin from the Colorado Avs got suspended indefinitely. I don't know, at least the playoffs, but he's in stage three of the Players Association of like, doing
Players
stuff. What's it called?
Assistance Program.
Oh, okay, there you go. PAP. And seems like the speculation is he did a bunch of drugs and either tested positive or just did something else, But ultimately he is seemingly a scumbag for leaving his team high and dry in the playoffs. And if I'm not mistaken, he was pretty up there in the leaderboards as far as goals and points, etc. So a pretty valuable player for the Avs just to be suspended for basically no reason. He shouldn't be doing that. Seems like an idiot. But yeah, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so stage three, essentially, in that program means that you've already been in the program and you violated it. So earlier this season, he was popped
That's
with
it.
something that I don't know, but he's been caught again. This time in the playoffs, he's leaving the team high and dry. Which last season he did that in the playoffs as well. There's a sketchy situation going on. Had to leave for
The guy's
personal
an idiot.
reasons. He seems to be a problem, and it's really screwing over Colorado. Before he was, well, currently he's still tied with the most goals in the playoffs amongst all competitors. And so it's a pretty big loss for Colorado to have. And we can go straight into the Colorado and Dallas series because he was suspended right before Game Four. That game in Colorado, it's a big one for
It was
Colorado.
like within 30 minutes or something right before that game too, if I'm not mistaken. So it
It
was like
was.
literally like, hey man, you can't play. And it's like, oh, okay.
And then they also had
Uh,
defenseman Devin Toews go out with an illness. So, or
Devontae's.
Taves, sorry. It's
It's
spelled
Taves.
Toews. Taves. That's the one thing about this podcast is and about hockey is you encounter some last names you ain't never pronounced before. But
Wah.
anyway, this dude, yeah, wow. This dude contributes to Colorado's issue, exacerbates it. I think it was halfway through the second period where Colorado had like four shots on goal or something. They couldn't get any
Pretty
offense
tragic.
going. The Stars win that game 4-1, or did we get a empty
I think it's
netter?
five
It
to
is. It
one.
is 5-1. Yeah, that's right. Logan Stankoven puts in an empty netter. It's his second goal of the game, second of the postseason. He gets both in that game. So good job, Brooke. Also, we got Wyatt Johnson going ahead and put in a shorthanded goal in there. And so over the last three games that have occurred in between the last time we talked, the Stars went ahead and put actually four games. It was 1-0 when we last talked, and so they win three of
Yeah.
four. The series was 3-1 Dallas. They would be playing tonight at home. Last week, you and I predicted that they would be up 3-1 over the Avs, and so it's exactly
I
what we've
think
been
you
saying.
predicted different.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. You predicted 3-1. I predicted 2-2. I was thinking, two games on the road right there, Colorado, and already having a win in the series at that point, Colorado
Well, the Val
would.
Nichushkin suspension definitely helped out. So
But even outside of that, I mean, game three in Colorado, the Stars win that one 4-1.
yeah, 4 to 1.
Our offense has really stepped up. Like every single line to get Wyatt Johnson has been in his like regular season form again, where he was just dominating. I think, did he finish with second in goals on the team, first or second? And he just had his 21st birthday yesterday, I think it was. So he's been dominating at the age of 20 in the playoffs, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the Stars are rolling right now. I don't
Yeah, playing pretty
know.
well.
Yeah, they play tonight. Keaton, how you feeling about the game tonight?
I honestly think they'll just put it away because Colorado's looking lost, and I don't think they'll find it. I mean, McKinnon's playing okay, but I mean, the last few games he's been playing, he hasn't really been no assists, goals, etc. I mean, I guess the last two games they've only scored two goals, so I mean, you can't really have much going on there. But I mean, it seems like the defense is playing for very well in the Stars end, so
And
just
Ottinger,
stuffing them
and
out.
you know what? I will say this: even though
Yeah,
we've gotten those goals, Georgiev, he's had some amazing saves this series too, where there have been
yeah,
opportunities for the Stars to go up by 2 goals or 3 goals, and the man has just played out of his mind. So I got to give him some credit there. Ottinger's stepped it up as well compared to how those first 2 games go, where you have a 3-0 lead and you lose it and lose the game in game one. And then game two, you have a 4-0 lead and you almost lose the lead. You do win 5-3, but it was 3 straight from Colorado. So that was pretty tough to watch. And so he's bounced back to where I think he should have been the entire series, but that's good to see. I will
yeah.
say, as much as I'm confident in the Stars winning tonight, we cannot play complacent. We've seen the Avs come back in multiple games this series, so we got to lock in and take them as serious as if Ransom. Dang it, what's Valeri Nichushkin is still there.
Nice,
Um,
dude.
yeah, gotta stay serious on them. Let's go ahead and shift over to another series, Keaton. The Florida
Another
Panthers and the Boston Bruins. What do you got on
Yeah.
that?
So it's been pretty physical. You know, the game that was right after we had recorded last week. A lot of fights. Very very
Yes.
physical.
Let's
Kachuk
talk about it.
beat the shit out of Pasternak. Popped him so hard his helmet popped off. So pretty good physical games.
And that fight
Florida's now.
occurred after 2 team fights within a minute before that.
Yeah, yeah. It was 5-1, and basically the right before they score, they all start brawling. Huge penalty, and I believe on the power play the Panthers score again. Another brawl fights out.
Makes it
And
six to
then
one and an immediate
yeah,
fight again. And then yeah,
yeah. Just
Kachuk and
everybody just doesn't really like each other. Everybody's really chippy. And the most recent game, I believe it was the most recent game at least. Sam Bennett got a lot of booze. He pushed a defenseman or maybe even a forward. Who knows? They might have been on the power play, but they pushed him into the goalie and scored a goal. Pretty controversial. Shouldn't happen. Although I will say the goalie was kind of out of position to save that anyway. So even with that push, probably wouldn't have made it regardless. But still pretty iffy. Pushed a dude into the guy, still got away with it. So seems like he's the hated guy of the Boston Bruins franchise at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see. I do believe they play on Thursday upcoming. So I honestly think the Panthers might push it out.
their next game's actually on Friday.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. They pushed out a few games, so it's all weird as far as the schedule is concerned.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, Boston, they were facing elimination last night.
yeah,
And
was
they
it
and
last
they
night?
were on the road.
It was the
Yes.
night before.
It was yesterday.
Was it?
Google says it was
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway,
Must have been out of it. Anyway.
nah, all good, all good. So yeah, they were on the road and they go ahead and stave off elimination, which is something I'm hoping Colorado doesn't do on the road tonight. But again, back to the series on hand. Boston will be back at home for Game 6 on Friday, and then if it goes to a Game 7, that will occur on Sunday in Florida. Keaton, do you have a prediction for how that series will wrap up before we record again?
I honestly believe the Panthers will finish it off on Friday. So just beat them in Boston, just finish it off. That way they can finally advance. I mean, it could go to game seven, and then they end up winning. I still think that they're going to be the victors, but I mean, Boston's been playing pretty well, pretty gritty, and Swayman's been playing pretty well. You know, saving a lot of the ones that seem like real solid goals. So you know, I don't really know for sure, but I do believe that the Panthers just have enough of it to get it done. And I believe Marchand may not even be available for Game Six anyway. So I think they'll just finish it off.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll give Boston game six in Boston. Missing Marchand is going to be a problem. But I think they're going to play with the energy they played with last game, where they knew if they lose, they're going home. And hopefully, in their mind, they don't stay home after that game, that they go to a game seven in Florida. I think they will go to a game seven, and I'll say Florida advances from there. Regardless, you and I have the Panthers advancing before we record again. Let's stay in the East. There's a series between New York, the Rangers, and Carolina Hurricanes. What you got on that one?
So they've been playing pretty well. It seems like the Canes have been staving off elimination, just like the Bruins have. And I believe it was 3-0 before they
Yeah, it
started that.
was.
So pretty crazy. They've won two in a row. I'm not sure. Do you know where it is? This
The
next
next
game
game
on
is in
Friday
Carolina.
or Thursday.
Game six
Yeah.
tomorrow night will be in
So
Carolina.
it'll be interesting. I know the last game seemed to kind of just blow up the Rangers spot. Seemed like they just kind of got away with a bunch of goals with I believe it was probably the third period. Not
The last game they only
100%
scored
sure.
one goal. New York did.
No, the Carolina on
Mm, mm,
New York, but yeah,
might be. Sorry. Yeah, Carolina scored
yeah,
four in the third period.
yeah. So they just made it rain, you know. Just kind of finished it off. I think that they've been playing pretty well. I mean, I think that they'll just not go away. I'm not sure how it's going to go out because I mean the Rangers have been playing pretty well. They've got a stud in Shesterkin, but yeah, I think they'll probably win. The Carolina Canes will win this next game, and see what happens on Game Seven. I still believe that the Canes might still push them out of the playoffs just because of the President's Trophy curse. But yeah, if not this series, it'll be next because I believe the Panthers will probably make it to the Cup. Maybe not win it, but yeah, playing pretty well. But yeah, be interesting to see exactly what pans out on this one. It's been a pretty close series as of late, even though Rangers started out 3-0. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's pretty insane to look back at the series from the standpoint. Okay, last time we recorded, it was already 2-0, yeah? Or, let's
yeah,
see.
because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I probably am, but I believe the first two games are OT games anyway. So
Just
they've
the
been
first
playing
one.
really, really
Or,
close.
sorry, just
Was
the
it the
second one. The
first one?
second one. The second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the day
I
we
thought they had
recorded,
two games that were overtime, but they had
they
one that
had,
was two OT that was
yeah,
long.
game two was the double OT, and then game three, the day after we had recorded, also went to OT. Both those were
Yeah.
won by New York. The thing
Okay.
is, Carolina scores in bunches, man. Like in their game four win, or sorry, game four, to make it 3-1. They scored three goals in the first period. They do end up scoring one more in the third period, and they
Hmm.
win 4-3. But they score three in the first period, and then you go to game five. We just talked about it. They score four in the third period. So it really seems like if New York can just the thing, Carolina gets hot,
Stuff
man.
them out.
They get
Yeah.
hot, and so you got to be very careful playing a team like that. I think they feel like they have a big wave of momentum. That the fact that they've faced elimination twice and fought it off, And now, mind you, both those games were. Oh no, the second one was in New York. Was the third?
Yeah.
First
At least
one
one of them was in New
Carolina,
York.
second in New York, where they go 4-1, and now Game 5 will be back in Carolina tomorrow night. Man, I definitely would say that New York should win this game, should end the series tomorrow night. If Carolina wins tomorrow night, I think they could easily win that. Like, I feel like if you go 3 straight wins against New York, you're feeling confident. You're feeling really good. I
Well, yeah,
I
I
gotta
mean, it
make a
just ended
prediction.
the Rangers streak of 7-0. I mean, the Rangers 4-0'd the Capitals. They beat the Canes 3-0 up until now. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty interesting to see what exactly that does to the Rangers psyche.
Yeah, but as far as making a prediction, I will say New York wins the series, and they'll go ahead and complete that in Game 6 tomorrow night.
Nice, dude.
What was your prediction again?
That the Canes will win.
Okay, gotcha. Now let's move on to the last series, one that both you and I incorrectly predicted, as we both thought between Vancouver and Edmonton that it would be 3-1 Edmonton, and it's 2-2 currently, with the next game occurring in Vancouver tomorrow night. What are your thoughts on that series?
Yeah, it's a little interesting. It might even go to Game 7. I thought Edmonton will probably go 4-1, but yeah, it's looking a lot more interesting than not. Just seems like they have answers because it seems like last night the Oilers were up 2-0, and just kind of out of nowhere, the Canucks tied it. The Edmonton Oilers had to, score another goal just to win that game.
They scored with
So
Vancouver scored their game tying goal with like a minute left, and then Edmonton wins the game with like 30 seconds left. So it's
that's
just an
great. Yeah,
insane finish to that game. It's crazy
I wasn't
too
there for
when
the
you
game.
juxtapose this series, and that was the lowest scoring game of the series so far. Or was it 2-3 or 3-2?
I feel like one of them they had like one goal.
Let's see.
They've been
No, no,
down.
no. They have not had that. So game 1 was 5-4 Canucks. Game 2, 4-3 Oilers. Game 3, 4-3 Canucks, and then last night 3-2 Oilers.
Yeah,
So that was the lowest scoring, and it's wild to me because the Canucks versus the Predators in the series before, the games were like 1-0, 2-1. I think they had 2-2-1s and a 1-0.
super low scoring games. Yeah.
Super low scoring. They could not get any attack.
Well, Saros was really good at
Well, but that's the
keeping everything
thing
down.
is you and I were looking at some of the stats, and Saros had games where he had like 15 saves. And some of that
Yeah.
has to do with the defense getting in front of pucks, but Vancouver wasn't shooting either, and now they've kind of got their
Yeah.
offense going. Brock Besser has really stepped up, and so man, the series is much more competitive than what I initially thought when we recorded last. The series hadn't begun. Yeah, because
Right.
we recorded last Wednesday.
It was like a delayed start to that because
Yeah.
they had to wait for the Stars and Golden Knights to finish before they started their series.
And I forget if if it was 3-0 and then Vancouver came back, but Edmonton started the game 2-0. I'm looking at it right now. It
It was-
says in the second period they each scored 2 goals. I forget the order. And then
I'm pretty sure it was 2-0 and then they scored two. Because I was like heading to bed by the time it was 2-0, so I was like, yeah, nice.
Yeah, well, and then the third period comes around and Vancouver scores 3 goals and wins that game by 1. So Vancouver's really impressed me, man. But I still hold firm that Edmonton will win that series. But I got to give credit to Vancouver, man. That offense I thought was
Yeah.
dead in the water, and they've come out hot so far. But that being said, what do you predict for the series going forward?
Just take a look.
They'll be
What's
playing
gonna
tomorrow
happen.
night in Vancouver. And then Game 6 would be in Edmonton, And if required, Game 7 would be back in Vancouver on Monday.
It's an interesting one because, like you said, Besser and what was that other guy
The other
on
one,
the Vancouver? Yeah, that other guy. You definitely know who that is. Come on.
yeah, my bad. Garland, Hughes. Hughes has played pretty
J.C.
solid.
Miller. J.C.
Okay,
Miller has
JT
been
Miller.
playing pretty well. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I think the Edmonton Oilers will still pull it out, but it might just go to Game 7.
Okay, yeah. I really they like I feel like I'm just repeating what I just said, but Vancouver's impressed me, man. That game Wednesday night when we last recorded, I remember texting you. Definitely were asleep because I remember texting. I'm like, oh wow, Vancouver just scored. Oh wow, Vancouver just tied it. Oh what the heck, Vancouver just took the
They
lead
won.
and they win the
Yeah.
game 5-4. And in the following games, Edmonton wins two. They win one. It's gone back and forth, back and forth. It's a much more entertaining series than I gave it credit for. It's featuring the coach of the year, more than likely. Vancouver. What's Vancouver's coach name
Rick
again?
Tocchet.
Tocchet. Versus a coach who was kind of an interim and brought on after there was a firing, and he's working with
Knobloch.
McDavid, Knobloch.
Yeah.
And so, from the coaches to the players to the performances they've put on, it's just an interesting, entertaining series. I do, like I said, I think Edmonton still wins it. I think Edmonton will win it in 7, though. I don't see it ending in Game 6. And that goes against what we said for this series. I think you and I last week were saying that we'll be surprised if, or we were expecting it to kind of end in Game 5. And
Yeah.
that's not even possible now, and I don't think it's likely.
Yeah, it's not likely if it's not possible. That's for
No,
sure.
no, I'm saying, oh yeah, I didn't phrase it well. It's not possible for Game 5, and then Game 6, I don't think it's likely that it ends in 6. I think it does go to Game 7. I phrased that terribly. But anyway, so going back to our bracket, though, we both have Edmonton winning, so we would like to see that for sure. You have Florida beating Boston. Well, we both had Toronto there, but it's Boston. So you would definitely still need Florida to cover, which I think they will. I had both Florida and Boston out in the first round, so I'm completely screwed on that matchup. Carolina and New York. You had Carolina advancing over New York. I had New York over the Islanders, which again did not make it. But if they advance, I'll at least have one conference finalist in there. So yeah, I need New York to clutch it. You would need Carolina. You would need Florida. And for me to catch up, I kind of need Boston to clutch it over that series. But both of us have Dallas, and so our brackets. You're still ahead of me, of course. But if Carolina goes down and Boston goes down, I think I got you, bud.
Yeah, dude.
That's kind of a
So,
useless hypothetical. If my team wins and yours loses, I win. That's basically what I said.
well, I mean, honestly, I feel like that's a tie at that point because I'd be perfect up until then, and then you'd be not perfect up until then.
Yes.
So, I mean,
But
there's
anyway,
yeah,
do you
dude.
have anything else you'd like to add? Did I miss anything about the playoffs or
No, just
coaches firing or anything?
I don't think so. No. Should be interesting to see these games tie in. You know, it's end of these series in the next coming games, so um, I think it'll be end of the Dallas Colorado series pretty soon. So that'll be nice.
For
Have some
sure.
rest for the next series.
Yeah. So, I mean, based off our predictions, we're sticking with pretty much what our bracket looks like. Right? You said that, I'm sorry, my memory is terrible. Now that it's 3-2, do you still say that Carolina is advancing over New York?
Yeah, I mean they've
Okay.
gotten it together in the last 5 games, they've basically tied it, if not won the game at the last second. So, yeah, uh, they're still playing. They're not going away. So, I think they're going to at least get it to game 7, and if they do that, then they have a chance to win.
for sure.
Because
I mean,
I
they
mean, the
absolutely
last
have a
5 games
chance.
have been playing, or 4 games rather, have been playing pretty well in the Carolinas end. It's just been, the overtime losses, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, we will see. I look forward, man. These series, they're entertaining, man. They're so much more than what I was really expecting. I of course thought Rangers Carolina would be great, but I got to give it to Edmonton and Vancouver, and I'm surprised Boston is still hanging around. So we'll see what they do. I'm hoping my Stars win tonight against Colorado, and in that series, maybe we can rest up a little bit before we take on hopefully battered either Edmonton or Vancouver. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, we'll see. Any last words?
No, just thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Peace out.